the hum of energy deepening into a resonant pulse that seemed to vibrate in her chest. She reached a central node, a massive glowing pillar suspended over the void. Its light pulsed erratically, almost as if it were alive. As she approached, a voice filled her mind. Not Sarathis, but something older, more profound. "Why do you seek our legacy, child of the stars?" The question reverberated in her thoughts, and for a moment she hesitated. What could she say that would satisfy whatever intelligence governed this place? She clenched her fists, her voice resolute. "To protect those who cannot protect themselves," she said aloud. "To ensure that knowledge isn't used to destroy but to create." The voice was silent for a moment, then spoke again. "Creation and destruction are two sides of the same coin. Will you wield both with equal wisdom?" Lyric's chest tightened. "I can only try." The pillar's light surged, bathing her in a wave of energy. Her vision blurred, and the labyrinth around her seemed to dissolve, replaced by a vast expanse of stars. Images flickered in the void, scenes of the Eilari civilization, their rise, and their catastrophic fall. She saw their triumphs and their mistakes, their genius and their hubris. When the vision ended, Lyric found herself back on the platform, the pillar now pulsating steadily. Her team stood nearby, each of them wearing the same dazed expressions. "What happened?" Ralos asked, his voice barely a whisper. "We've been judged," Lyric said, her voice steadier than she felt. "And we're still here." The central node pulsed once more, and a path illuminated itself, leading toward the far end of the chamber. Sarathis appeared at the edge of the platform, their expression inscrutable. "You have passed the first trial," they said. "But the Eilari's legacy is not yet yours. The final test awaits." As the group followed the glowing path, Lyric couldn't help but wonder what the final trial would demand, and whether they had what it took to face it. The path led to an enormous chamber, its walls lined with cascading energy conduits that pulsed in rhythm with the labyrinth's unseen heartbeat. At the center of the room stood a massive, crystalline sphere suspended in midair, its surface swirling with incomprehensible patterns of light and shadow. It emanated an aura that made the air thick, pressing down on Lyric and her team with an almost suffocating weight. Sarathis hovered beside the sphere, their expression unreadable. "You stand before the heart of the Eilari," they announced, "the culmination of their legacy and the source of their downfall." Lyric approached cautiously, her team fanning out behind her. "What do we need to do?" Sarathis inclined their head. "The heart holds the totality of Eilari knowledge, technology, philosophy, and power. To claim it, you must demonstrate not only strength and intellect but unity. It will test the very fabric of your being, individually and as a whole." Before Lyric could ask what that meant, the crystalline sphere flared with light. The chamber's floor trembled, and the team staggered as a deep, resonant voice filled the room. "To wield the legacy is to bear the burden of its truths. Step forward, each of you, and face your reflection." Without hesitation, Lyric stepped up. A pulse of energy enveloped her, lifting her slightly off the ground. The world around her dissolved, replaced by a swirling void. Within the emptiness, a figure emerged, herself, but colder, harsher, her face twisted with bitterness. "Who are you?" Lyric demanded. The reflection smirked. "I'm what you'll become if you fail to carry this burden. The leader who bends under the weight of impossible decisions, the one who loses sight of the people she swore to protect." Lyric clenched her fists. "I won't let that happen." The reflection stepped closer, its voice cutting like a blade. "Won't you? How many lives have you sacrificed for the greater good? How many will you sacrifice if you wield this power? Do you really believe you can hold this responsibility without losing yourself?" Lyric felt her resolve waver but forced herself to meet the reflection's gaze. "I don't have all the answers. I don't know what will happen, but I do know this. I won't stop fighting for what's right, no matter how hard it gets." The reflection studied her for a long moment, then nodded. The void dissolved, and Lyric found herself back in the chamber. The crystalline sphere pulsed once, its glow slightly brighter. One by one, her team faced their reflections. Ralos hesitated as his confronted him with failures he had buried, moments where his calculations had cost lives. CR's reflection mocked his reliance on logic, questioning whether he could truly embrace the chaotic nature of the legacy. Each emerged from their trials visibly shaken, but standing taller, their resolve hardened. As the last operative returned, the sphere flared again, bathing the room in a radiant light. "You have faced your truths," the voice declared. "But unity is more than the sum of its parts. Your final test lies not in yourselves, but in each other." The chamber trembled as the floor began to shift, separating Lyric and her team into isolated sections connected only by narrow beams of light. New challenges arose around them, walls of shifting energy, rotating platforms, and puzzles that required intricate timing. "Coordinate!" Lyric shouted, her voice cutting through the chaos. "Trust each other." The team moved as one, their earlier trials forging an unspoken bond. Ralos shouted calculations, guiding CR through the shifting platforms. Lyric maneuvered across a narrow beam, helping another operative disable a glowing energy conduit. Every step, every decision was a dance of collaboration and trust. The challenges intensified. Walls of light surged toward them, and the beams beneath their feet flickered. Lyric shouted above the chaos, her voice steady. "Hold your ground, we're almost there." At the final juncture, the team stood before a massive energy barrier blocking their path to the crystalline sphere. The glyphs etched into the walls flashed erratically, their meaning unclear. Ralos called out, "We need to synchronize the glyphs to align with the sphere's rhythm." "Together," Lyric ordered. The team worked in unison, each member tackling a section of the glyphs. The barrier crackled and shimmered, its energy surging dangerously close to their positions. Sweat dripped down Lyric's face as she aligned her section, the rhythmic pulse growing louder in her ears. Finally, the glyphs aligned and the barrier dissolved in a cascade of light. The crystalline sphere began to spin, its light intensifying until it was blinding. Sarathis reappeared, their form flickering. "You have proven yourselves worthy. But remember, this knowledge is a double-edged blade. Use it wisely or it will consume you." The voice of the heart resonated once more. "The legacy is yours. Go forth and shape the stars, but know that with great power comes even greater responsibility." As the sphere's light enveloped them, Lyric felt a surge of understanding flow through her, a torrent of knowledge and insight that left her breathless. When the light faded, the chamber was silent. "We did it," Ralos whispered, his voice trembling with awe. Lyric nodded, her gaze fixed on the now dormant sphere. "This is just the beginning. Let's make sure we're worthy of it." As they made their way back to their ship, Lyric couldn't shake the weight of the legacy they had claimed. The Eilari's knowledge could bring unimaginable progress or unimaginable destruction. It would take everything they had to ensure it was used for the right reasons. As the ship ascended into the stars, Lyric vowed to carry the legacy not as a weapon, but as a beacon of hope for a galaxy in desperate need of it.